Hey guys, welcome to those of you who are here bright and early with us in Asia. It's 10 a.m. in Singapore now, and it's 7 p.m. on in the US. And hope you guys are having a great time and enjoying your weekend. I'm really excited to be here, and this is actually my third live stream episode this week. And I've just had such an amazing guest the past few days. I had Greg Fishman as well as Jay Metcalf from Better Sax yesterday. And today I have the one and only Jeff Kashiwa. And I'm so excited to introduce him onto the show. And we're going to be talking and sharing lots of stories and conversations, as well as a lot of music as well. So Jeff and I are going to play a tune of his together. And then he will also be playing a few more tunes and even debuting some music from his current album, which is still unreleased. So you guys are in for a treat. But thank you for coming in bright and early. And let me take a look and say hi to some people who are here right from the start in the chat. Hey, James, nice to see you. Hope you guys are doing good. We have Justin, good morning. And we have, let's see. We have Anugrash, is it? Anugrash, how are you? Yeah, I'm great. Thank you so much. Russell, hi Russell. Good morning. How many hours of sleep? I think I got 6 to 7 hours, which is not bad. I have a full day today, and then definitely gonna take some time off tomorrow. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing great. Enjoying the start of your weekend. I hope no matter where you guys are watching from, you guys are gonna enjoy the show today. And if you guys are new to my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe. And there are tons more videos and many more special guests coming up. Shafi, nice to see you. Good morning. And yeah, for those of you who are watching on Facebook, you can click the link above. Join us on the YouTube chat. Um, Hey Xavier, nice to see you. Xavier has been here on almost every single show and enjoying the interviews with my guests. So thank you, Xavier. Nice to see you again. And yeah, let me see who else can I say hi to before we bring Jeff on. Yeah, and as we share some stories and as do listen out because we might have a special giveaway at the end of today's episode if you guys can answer some questions correctly. So do listen out for that. Javier, nice to see you from Orlando. I hope everything is going okay in Florida. Please stay safe. And Yin, yes, you say Yin wearing the same shirt as yesterday. Yes, I'm trying to lead a very minimalist lifestyle, and I just I'm deciding to stick with a select few shirts that work. And Casey, good morning. Nice to see you. Adrian, Adrian is protecting me. So good morning, Adrian. Adrian Chia from Singapore. And thank you so much, guys. I know it's early here in Singapore. You guys could be sleeping in, but we are very happy to be doing this show for you. And yeah, I think without further ado, I'm going to bring on and introduce my very special guest, Mr. Jeff Kashiwa. Hi, Jeff. Okay, sorry, I didn't unmute you, Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Oh, wait. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we still can't hear you yet.
Help at all, no? Hello?
Yes. Now we can hear you.
Okay, cool.
All right. Hey,
All
Jeff. How's
right. That was
everything going?
good. Sorry, folks, that was my fault. Too many buttons.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm doing very well, Daniel. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. If only people knew how much technical stuff we had to deal with to get this sounding good.
Yeah, I've got reeds to shave. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, it's so crazy. But yeah, I'm so glad you're here joining us from Seattle in your is it in your Zen den?
It is the Zen Den. It's just my basement. So
Oh, it looks really cool. Was it you set out to design it this way to have a nice,
I got to hand it to my wife. Shantae is the one. She's the chief designer. She takes all She
Mm,
kind of has a great eye for aesthetics, so I follow her lead.
nice,
But
nice.
she said I asked her, but I mean, all kidding aside, she asked me, well, what do you want it to be like downstairs? And I said, I want it to be like an Asian Starbucks, like just sort of Asian things that would make me feel comfortable, and then that kind of subdued calmness down here.
Mm,
So that's
yeah.
what we're going for.
Is it all vintage pieces mainly, or some of the furniture look really?
The piano is actually quite old. It's like 1970, but yeah, they're kind of yeah. I should probably move that TV so that it's not glaring back at you. We'll get to that later. But
Okay, no worries.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you for joining us here. How has things been the past few months for you?
It's been okay. It was very stressful. I teach at a college as well as perform, and so
Okay, Jeff, sorry we lost your audio for a while.
still got me. Here we go.
Now we have.
Okay, that was odd. I had to turn it back on and off again. All right. Anyway, and actually, that's one of the things I talk about all the time. I teach music ensembles at the college, and I also teach music technology, this kind of thing, and but not exactly this, but like Pro Tools, Logic, Ableton Live,
Yeah,
and it's the computers are a wonderful tool, but sometimes they can act up, So,
yeah, for
but
sure.
you're asking how it was when the shutdown came, when the quarantine came. We had to really quickly make all of our classes online classes, and so that was an extra effort because suddenly not everyone can have access to our school computers. They have their own computers, and they may not have a Mac or et cetera, et cetera. So I had to rewrite everything, but that was
Wow.
yeah
Are you planning
scramble.
to restart in-person lessons after the summer or still online?
I think tell you the truth, with one-on-one lessons, I actually like the one on the zooming lessons. I have several students now, and it works quite well. I can send them documents, and I can play the
Yeah,
piano with them or saxophone
yeah,
with them. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think, I think a lot of people have been embracing this, and I, for one, also am loving the option to do, like online lessons, because I think that actually even opens up a bigger, um, pool of people who, for example, we could teach to in that sense, and
Hmm.
can do it from any part of the world. So I think there
Yeah,
definitely some merits that come out of that. Do you teach privately, like outside of your school as well? Have you
I
been
do. Yeah, yeah, I
very
do. I teach. Yeah, some of my not just saxophone too. I had a very good trombone student. I've had a guitar student, a bassist, and we don't talk, of course, about the saxophone and embouchure, but we do talk about um, approach to jazz, vocabulary, you
mm,
know. Um, and I do enjoy teaching because it gives me each hour with each student gives me an opportunity to try explaining something that's kind of complex 9 different ways, and it really challenges me to fully understand what the heck it is I'm trying to say,
yeah.
so I could be clear about it. Yeah.
Totally. I think that's one of the huge benefits of teaching, because some students just may not understand it the same way, even if we thought we are explaining it really clearly.
Hmm.
So I think it's a great thought process to always, find 10 different ways of explaining the same things to
Yeah.
help these
One
students.
of them's going to hit. So,
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, and
yeah.
definitely we want to talk a bit more about you and teaching and how you got into it. But, I think maybe we can start right from the start. How did you get into music? Was it something from, since the early days you knew you were gonna do music all the way?
Yeah. Um, it starts with that little bug that we have all, if you're a musician watching now, you've felt it, is that feeling of this this music, these sounds are speaking to me. They make me feel a certain way. And you just want it to repeat and repeat. And so I first felt those feelings even as early as um, in elementary school, singing, at the time when I was in, I think, the second grade or something like that. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid came out. So Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head, which is from that movie, was a very popular song on the radio, Burt Bacharach. So one of the first songs I fell in love with was that one. I memorized all the lyrics and the melody and sang it incessantly around my house I think I annoyed my entire family because I'm not a very good singer, but it doesn't matter. It just, you could just feel the song in your heart. And that's where it started. And it's no joke. You know, that's why I'm such a big advocate for keeping music and the arts in public school education because I'm a direct product of all that. Yeah, but that's when it started, and just of course joining band and in the concert band. And the bug hit me when we played a blues in the concert band. It was like boogie woogie something, and that's when I discovered jazz. I thought this is the kind of music I want to do. Then I got into jazz ensemble in the 8th grade and never looked back. I switched to saxophone, and that was it for me.
That's nice. So you knew you wanted to study, music even in college, and that would be the path.
I did. I was very concerned that I would be a starving musician. And as many of us might have had that fear. And so when I was in as early as junior high school, Chuck Mangione was real popular. Feel So Good was a huge, huge hit.
Yeah.
And I went to see them, and that would really seal the deal for me. Them and Spyro Gyra, first couple concerts, and I thought that's exactly what I want to do. And then I began to ask every musician I would run into around town here in Seattle, "Can you make a living?" Must have been like this, 8th and 9th grade kid. Can you make a living as a musician? So uh, I just
So,
decided to go for it.
but then for your college, do you study performance or was it
Yeah,
just pure performance?
I did. Yeah, I studied performance. It's called. I have a bachelor's of arts in music with a concentration in commercial music, contemporary. But
Mm,
that involved writing and arranging, etc. But
mm,
that was the focus. Yeah, to
mm.
college.
Yeah, but for sure, a lot of people, a lot of musicians have this conversation either with someone or within themselves. Like, can we just play music only and make a comfortable living? When you were, starting out, when you were, let's say in college, did you know that you might diversify a little to, let's say, do teaching as well, or did that happen just by chance along the way?
I've been teaching since I was in college privately, like one on one, just occasionally. I didn't really get serious about it formally until the last 10 years. I've been at the college, at the Shoreline Community College. But before then, it's just down here in this basement, one on one lessons. But the reason why I'm so passionate about, I like, of course, love teaching saxophone, but especially jazz harmony, is because when I was coming up, I wanted to learn that language that I was hearing.
Mm,
What is bebop? Why does it sound so cool? And I didn't understand any of the harmony,
mm,
all the cycle of fifths and all the stuff. It looked like
we lost your audio again.
uh,
Okay. Oh, we lost you again.
one, two, check. Is this okay?
Now it's back.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting because I have the button on disable auto processing. All
Mm.
right. So we're good now.
Yeah,
We'll
now
leave,
we're
we'll
good.
leave it on then. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I just couldn't. It was too much for my brain to handle. Like I didn't understand at all anything, and I bought the book, and it didn't help me. And putting it under my pillow didn't help me. but but I went to Berkeley College of Music to learn it specifically, and I got exactly that. And when the lights came on for me, and I began to understand the relationship of everything, I looked at that same book returning from college, and thinking, I understand everything in this book. I get it all. And it was like the lights coming on moment. And whether it be with saxophone or with harmony or whatever, or any kind of thing, I am an advocate for the lights coming on for people. That's why I enjoy teaching.
That's awesome. And that's really not an easy topic to explain to people, especially, people are even new to music, because I have some students who are, totally new to music, but they want to play jazz. So that, sometimes yeah, it's definitely not the easiest topic and takes, I guess, for you years of experience to figure out the best, pedagogy to teach jazz as well. Do you find it challenging yourself? When let's say a student really can't understand the harmony.
Yeah, yeah, and it's always based on the same thing. I'm gonna include myself as I talk about students because I can even show you on my hard drive. If for every student I have, I've got a folder for them.
Oh,
Jonathan, Tommy, blah 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 blah, and in this folder are the things that they're working on. 7 steps, 7 steps to heaven, rhythm changes, blues, that type of thing. They're practice material, but I'm the one with the biggest folder. My folder has the most stuff in it because I'm constantly throwing stuff in there that I want to work on. But so I include myself as a student, and uh, what will hold up anybody is not having a firm grasp of the fundamentals, I think, because you start to build knowledge on top of knowledge, and you got to have that fundamental knowledge first to have a point of reference.
mm, yeah. Wow, but that's cool that you keep notes for every student. Um,
Yeah,
I need to I need to learn to do that as well. Yeah. And yeah, let me jump in quickly with some comments. And
sure.
Xavier says he's seen you many times at the Funky Biscuit in
Oh yeah,
Florida.
yeah. Funky Biscuit. That's where I
Oh,
had the ill-fated Xavier. Were you there? I had the ill-fated saxophone breaking episode. I don't know
what
if it was.
happened?
Uh, it was a freak accident. And I'm going to preface this by saying I love the Trevor James horn, as I know you do too, and it's a great horn. This so that not don't let this story being a disparaging comment on the horn because it was a freak accident. But the neck, the weld on the neck ring came off. It's in how many years have I been playing saxophone with different saxophones? Nothing has ever like this happened, and none of theirs have ever happened. But I was literally playing, and I played the worst note. I played a high E, an E or a D or something. Anyway, my hands were off the horn, and it looked like I just pushed it off my body. It went flying about 3 feet.
Wow.
Yeah, oh, and I have video footage of it. I'll send it to you.
That would be great. Yeah. Xavier says he was there.
What's that?
This Yeah,
Yeah,
Xavier says he was there.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So the whole neck, you know.
And your night's over. Thankfully, I had an alto, so I just picked up the alto and continued on. I had to spend the rest of the evening transposing up a fourth.
Wow, that's crazy. I think the closest experience I had was yeah, it was like 15 minutes before a show. I thought I was putting it on a speaker which had a case cover over it. So I put my saxophone on the stand and then on this speaker, which I thought there was a speaker underneath it, but it turned out it was an empty cover. So, I put it down and from the corner of my eye, in the next 2, 3 seconds, I saw it starting to collapse and it just slammed
uh,
to the ground. But luckily, I own a saxophone shop, so I desperately called the staff there to
I know
please
who.
send
I
me
know.
one.
I know who to call. By the way, I'm sorry. I had to transpose up a fifth. Maybe that was my problem. I was doing a fourth. Up a fifth. It's funny. We had in the Sax Pack playing with Steve Cole, who you know him well. He's got a
Yeah.
terrific sense of humor. I've got these light saxophone stands that are pretty good, because they're light. I throw them in my bag, but they
Mm,
don't hold the horn. The Trevor James bell's a little bit bigger, and so my saxophone was literally just kind of slowly leaning, like moving, slipping, and
yeah.
he goes. I finished the solo. I put it down. I was talking to the audience, and Steve goes, "Your sax is moving. Your sax is moving," and I know what he meant. He meant my sax was falling, and I said, "Thank you, Steve. That means a lot coming from you."
Oh man, did you manage to stop it in time?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's so funny.
Sax
Yeah,
mishaps. We all have them.
yeah. We were saying earlier it would be really cool to do a sex pack edition of this show as well. That would be really cool. We'll find
Yeah.
a way to make
Okay.
it happen. And yeah, hey John Dip from KL. John is an amazing, amazing pianist. We've played together many times and recorded as well. Hope you guys are doing great. Wendy, good morning. Russell is diving straight into the Rippingtons questions. I will slowly ease
Okay.
into that. Casey is talking about the volume. Oh, mine is a bit soft. Okay, let me turn myself up a slight bit.
Okay.
Thanks, guys, for always giving good feedback. Test, test, test. Let
While
me
we're
know.
doing technical stuff, I'm just noticing, is my shirt like really freaky? Like, does it look weird?
No,
I'm looking at the maybe it's just my monitor. It's all, I can't describe it. All psychedelic-y. Okay,
no,
cool.
it looks
It
good,
looks
man.
weird. Okay. Because I was gonna do a costume change if it was annoying. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Let's see. We have some. Oh, Xavier said during that Florida gig you played around with the Eevee a bit as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Oh, Steve. Hi, Steve. Steve is
Uh,
watching as well.
Steve.
we should we should find a way to pull you up on screen, but for now you live in the Facebook chat. So yeah, if you guys haven't watched that episode with Steve Cole, and you can check out my YouTube channel. We did it probably a few weeks ago. So that was a wonderful conversation as well. And let's see. Hey Ben, nice to see you. Uh Jeff, Ben says your shirt is shimmering.
Shit. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I'm gonna do a costume change later. It's bugging me.
All right. I think now would be a good time, and I'm really curious about this also. And Russell has a question. Russell is amazing, one of the world's best photographers, and he's asking, how do you get the Rippingtons gig since you were in Seattle and you have to move to LA?
Ah, good question. Well, I had already been living in LA. So I went to the path was I graduated from high school, went to Berklee College of Music for 2 years, and then I got a gig at Disneyland. Actually, it was one of my first paying gigs in 1983. It was a lot of fun. I fell in love with the warm weather and everything. So I decided to transfer to Los Angeles to finish my degree. And then after I graduated from college, um, I stayed around in the LA area for good number of years, and that's where I ran into the bass player and ran into Russ and begged and pleaded for an audition. If I could tell that story, I'll condense it
Oh,
quickly.
please. Yeah.
Well, it's just this. This was I don't know, a couple of years after I graduated. Oh, my talkback's a little hot. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. Push this away. A couple of years after I graduated from college, I was just doing weddings and things like that. And by my last count, I did about 300 weddings in the LA area. And yeah, a lot of weddings. But I met the bass player for the Rippingtons at the time, Steve Bailey, and I hired him to play in my group, a little jazz combo that played in hotels. And then would bug him on the breaks, hey, Brandon's a great player. Brandon was playing with him at the time, and Steve told me Brandon was getting ready to leave and do a solo venture. So I bugged him. I said, as soon as he leaves, let me know. I'd love to audition for you guys, and etc. He goes, well, there's nothing's going to happen yet, but why don't you go ahead and learn Tourist in Paradise? Just memorize it. So I did. I said, okay, I got it down. And then what else? And he said, well, why don't you learn Dream of Sirens, Katrina's Dance? He started rattling off all the songs from the albums, and I went ahead and learned 3 albums worth of music. I just memorized it all because I figured I like Brandon's playing anyway. It's nice to listen to a good player,
Mm.
and it's very good music. It's beautifully written, so why not? So I just threw myself into it and just was really like studying the music and learning every single note. And then finally, needed me to sub for. They needed me for a gig, and I went to Ross's house and then got the gig because. And I won't say I was the best saxophone player in LA, but I definitely was the most prepared because I'd learned all the stuff. So that's that. And I was with them for 2 stints of 9 years.
Wow.
So
That's
18
really
total.
cool. So you
Yeah.
took a break in between those two sets of 9 years?
Yep. About 6 years in between there, I went and started my own solo albums and such. And then rejoined them for their 20th anniversary and stayed for almost 9 years. And then here we are today, a couple years later.
Oh, that's awesome. Were you I'm sure Roberto Valli was um in that mix at some point during your.
He wasn't. I never played with Roberto on other gigs. I did,
Oh,
but not
okay.
in the Rippingtons. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh wait, sorry. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was in Spiral Gyra, not
Yeah,
Rippingtons.
he's yeah.
Got confused for
I
a
don't think
while.
he might have subbed or something, but I don't think so. No,
Mm,
he wasn't on the
that's
road.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
but man, I think, thank you for sharing about preparing. I think I'm sure there are no lack of great players in LA or in the US in general.
They're
Do you,
everywhere.
you yeah, do you feel that's something that has done well for your whole career in general, just always being prepared?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, going back to grade school again in the fifth grade. Um, this is after raindrops keep falling on your head. In the fifth grade, we still had the woman, Mrs. Lovett, who would push her piano from room to room and give us singing lessons. It was really wonderful, and she gave us good songs to sing. Um, and she said, "We're going to talk about major and minor today." And she explained the concept. And she said, "Okay, put your head down on the table and raise your hand if this is major. Raise your left hand if it's major. Raise your right hand if it's minor." I had no idea. I had no idea which if it was major or minor. So what I was doing is peeking at everyone else and copying them, and that began my uh, my work on my ears, which has been for me the slowest to develop. I found that if it makes any sense, my knowledge could lead the way. Like if I couldn't hear something, I could, like if I can sight read changes because I know what notes will work with these chords. Other players are do that, but they can also hear their way around it. Like actually, I don't know if Steve's still with us, but if you listen to Steve and me play together, I think we're compatible players, comparable players, and we certainly blend well together. We are thinking about music two completely different ways in many areas. Yeah, and you'd never know it. So the end result's the same.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been loving all the Sax Pack albums for a long time, and always jamming to them and Steve's music and your music as well. Later the tune that we're gonna play together is from your album Play, which
Mm-hmm.
just spent and when I was just running through that tune, I just ended up just playing along with a lot of the other tunes on the album as well. So
Good. All right.
definitely really good music. But when you're talking about being prepared, it just reminded me of this crazy story which I think I should share. I think I not many of you know this, but I think it was 2 years ago. So Paul Brown, who produced my first album, he was organizing the Jazz Diego, a festival in San Diego, and so he was getting the band together, and he was nice enough to offer me a slot to play my music, which I was really thankful for. And Larry Carlton was actually the headliner. So Paul was nice and trusting enough to ask me like, "Hey, would you like to play saxophone with Larry Carlton?" I was like, "Sure." I couldn't say yes fast enough, and I was like, "Are you sure Larry Carlton is okay with that?" He was like, "Yeah, yeah, don't worry." So Paul put the band together, and then we went up to LA a day before to rehearse, and then I found out that Larry Carlton was not going to be at the rehearsal. His only rehearsal would be at soundcheck with a band that was put together by Paul. So of course, I Paul told me it was just going to be two songs that he needed saxophone on in his out of his whole set. So he sent me the two songs, and I learned it like crazy. And of course I felt prepared, so everyone, we went for sound check on the day, and that whole band, I think, seemed like they were meeting Larry for the first time. So it was a great experience, and then I played the two songs, and then Larry Carlton walked over and was like, "Hey, could you play on this other song as well?" I was like, I couldn't say I haven't heard it yet, so I was like, "Sure." So we just played, and I had to make something up on the spot. And then he'll come back again. He was like, "Hey, this other song, can you just take this solo on the bridge?" And I was like, "Sure." No idea what that tune was, and so in the end, Larry Carlton was like, why don't you just play the whole set?" I was like, firstly I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then right after sound check, I ran to my phone, got Spotify on, went to the Dropbox folder because there were actually the other charts for the rest of the band. So I had to just scramble in the last few hours before the show to try to listen and learn the tunes. So for me, the biggest lesson learned was probably, yeah, don't just learn the two songs, and go and listen,
But
so it's
also, I would add to that. That is true, and I would say add to that, Daniel. Your attitude is what got you, what kept you there, is as opposed to saying, "Hey, man, no, that's not cool. I didn't really prepare for that." Your attitude was like, "I'll try it." Yeah,
yeah.
you were being very open to it. I think that's a wonderful thing. That's part of
Yeah,
the
I
lesson
mean,
there.
to me, when I had to weigh out the two possible answers, yes or no, no was just not an option.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not gonna say like, sorry, I'm not gonna play on your tune because I don't know it.
yeah.
So the whole sound check was really interesting. I mean, trying to play by ear, Larry Carlton tunes and figure it out. And well, that was a great experience, And it's that small moment of dread when I see him walking towards me during the song, and he'll come beside me and whisper to my ear and say, "You can play more." Because of course I was a bit scared. I didn't want to step on his toes.
Yeah.
Even with bills and everything. So I'll be like, okay, the next time he comes to me and it's like, can you play a bit on this part? So it was just like that fear every time he walks towards me. But
So
man, that was
Daniel, that's so he actually came up to you and said you could play more.
yeah,
You should
yeah.
have
But
said. You could have said, Larry, come here. You could play a little less.
ouch.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but that was an incredible experience. And I think I could imagine like the people who were watching, it's like, who's this Chinese dude, playing with Larry Carlton on his set, And in the end, I at the end of the concert, of the festival, I found out that I actually sold the second most CDs,
There you
out of
go.
every everyone who was there, which I think is probably a
That's
novelty.
that's
And
great.
they told me, like, they were asking like, who's that guy? Does he have a
Yeah,
CD? And the people helping to sell were telling me all these stories, which was really really cool
that's
and fun.
wonderful.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
I
good
definitely
win for
need
you.
to. Yeah, so definitely something
Hmm.
I'll never forget, but a lot of lessons learned as well, about,
Hmm.
yeah, I guess preparing the best that we can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump in here with a very good question from Adrian. Adrian says, Jeff, yeah, you guys met at Warren Hill Sax Summit in LA a few years ago. You have a
Hmm.
very recognizable tenor sound. What do you look for in your tenor sound? He says he loved your tone on the Custom Z Yamaha.
Ah, thank you, thank you. The Z's are real fine horns. I played one for many many years, but I did switch to the Trevor James. Thank you for those kind words. I think I can answer this question. What do you look for in your tenor sound? Are you ready for this Zen answer? You look for yourself. Um, and the sound, actually, Steve Cole and I talk about this a lot about sound. The, Everyone's sound is actually in your head and in your heart first. That's where it resides. And then you said about making it happen in reality so other people can hear it besides you inside your head. And that's where the equipment comes in, the kind of horn, the kind of mouthpiece, the kind of reed, all that stuff. Even the screws on the saxophone make a difference, can make a little difference. But the main thing, what makes the most difference is the conviction of the sound you have in your head. In other words, if I gave Steve Cole my horn, or I gave, Everett Harp my soprano, or whatever, they would both sound like themselves on my equipment. All right. So, and the reverse is true, that I'll probably sound the same on one of my students' horns as I do on a professional horn like this one, because the sound is in my head. And that's just from years of playing and listening to yourself and recording yourself. That's a great way to improve your sound. Really listen to yourself and see what it is about your sound that you like and other things that you might want to improve upon. And that's what you practice the next day.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think, Jeff, now might be a good time to feature that amazing tenor sound of yours. And maybe you can speak a bit about the mouthpiece you're playing on your tenor now. Because I don't think anyone would have heard you playing on that. And I
I
can
just
found
got it.
that you
Yeah.
still sound like you. So maybe you can
Is it
share a bit more about this
okay?
new setup.
So let's do the one where we play together on Blue Jeans.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want me to talk about the tenor piece?
Yeah.
Okay. So here it is. We're gonna This is letting the cat out of the bag early. This is the Jody Jazz HR Dark. I just got this, so I'm still getting used to it, but I'm kind of enjoying it. I've been playing the DV 7-star for years, and I just got these, and I'm really digging it. It has the more bottom end in the sound I'm finding, so I'm kind of enjoying discovering it. You know, to going back to the previous question about sound, I think when you play, when I was at Cal State Long Beach, I met the man that meant still today a friend and a mentor on saxophone is Leo Potts. He was my saxophone instructor, and he taught only classical saxophone, what they call legit saxophone. And he really retooled my entire embouchure, my entire approach, everything. He rewrote it all for me and coached me on I think, how to approach the saxophone properly. And what I've learned is that a lot of it is dropping bad habits and establishing new good habits. Like any sort of diet you might want to go on, it's the same kind of deal with the saxophone. And at the end of the day, I can actually tell you how to play saxophone in about 20 seconds. You keep your teeth aligned, so your top teeth and your bottom teeth are aligned. And in order to do that, for most of us, you have to push out your jaw a tiny bit, like you're kissing. If you kiss someone, your teeth align. And then, you relax your throat and use your diaphragm. The end. That's it. The problem is remembering all that when you're in the heat of battle and getting excited and all this. Things move around. But anyway, this mouthpiece, any good mouthpiece is going to allow you to remain centered with that embouchure for the full range of the horn. In other words, a good mouthpiece will not have you need to bite to get the high notes or drop your jaw to get the low notes. A good balance will be balanced on a good mouthpiece will be balanced on the reed and allow you to just play it freely. That's what we're all looking for. So, and I think I found it here with this HR.
Yeah.
You want to play a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it. Tune together.
So I have to remember how we're doing this because it was kind of tricky. For all you technical people out there, we actually had to use 2 different interfaces on my end one to hear Daniel, and then one hear the music. I think we're gonna give it a try.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Excuse me. Switching mics, and here we go.
The sound got really weird actually just now. Before you did something, it was actually great.
Okay, so I'm getting an echo on your end.
Oh.
Switch something on your end?
Let me try. Okay, let's see if this is better.
Okay. You sound good.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's better.
Here we go. Sorry about that, folks. Take 2. We made it.
All right. All right. That was awesome. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah, with technology, this is actually my first time ever trying this platform and doing a duet. Um, I hope it turned out good. Those of you who are watching, let us know in the comments if that sounded good. We still can tweak it a bit more. Let's see.
And also remember, it's a free show, so you know.
We're deliberately all right. Okay. They say maybe my volume could go up a notch. No problem. I'll tweak that. But they say Jeff sounds good, which is the most important thing right now.
Good deal.
Cool. So that was a tune of yours called Blue Jeans. Man, that whole album was really good. And that was one of your earlier albums. Was it the second or third album?
Yeah, uh, it's that album was I lost track, maybe seventh or something like that. I can't
Wow.
remember, but yeah, no, it was 2007. Yeah, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm getting mixed notes as I'm answering your question. Yeah, and the interesting thing about the Play album, most of it, with the exception of two songs, most of it was done to 2-inch tape, like old school. The band went to a studio, and that was Russell Ferrante kind of doing some tasty fills there. It's my band, Dave Hooper, Melvin Davis, Alan Hines on that great guitar solo in the middle, and um, let's see, we booked a studio down in Southern California, and we just camped out there for a couple of days and recorded several takes to 2-inch tape till we got the take we liked, and then immediately transferred the tape to Pro Tools. So, best of both worlds, right? You get the nice
Mm,
sound,
mm,
nice tape
mm.
compression, natural sounding, and then you're able to edit it and stuff later.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. And, I think, Jeff, I reached out to you maybe a year or two ago, asking about you and your sound concept with writing. I think, all your albums have that sound, which is your sound, which is so hard, like, I try to write tunes myself, and I'm working on my second album, on the second half of it already. And even within the realm of contemporary jazz, I guess it's the same as saxophone, like it's just really hard to find your own sound. What's your composing, style? How do you go about writing your tunes?
Yeah, it's the best analogy I could give to composition, and I do enjoy the process, meaning many steps, process of composition. I enjoy it very much. It's very sort of meditative, you know. If you just try to enjoy all the different steps of the creative process, but it's like archaeology, and you just go to the dig site. That's step one: is you have to show up. You have to show up. You have to get your mindset. I'm going to write music for 2 hours today, or whatever it is. You have to show up to the dig site, and then you start digging around. And here's the thing: if I get left anyone with anything tonight, I hope it's this: that when you're in the creative process, this sort of flow starts to happen for all of us. It's not just like one or two people. Everyone's got this ability to do it, and the degree to which your ideas can flow is directly related, I guess conversely, to the editing voice in your head that says, that's dumb, that's a stupid idea, that's not very good, sounds bad, you're sharp, you're flat, you're rushing, you're dragging. All those things that we've actually are kind of helpful navigators when we make music, because we try to be precise when we make music. They can also get in the way in the creative process. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh.
Oops, I got you. I think you dropped out
Yeah.
for 2 seconds there. Okay, cool.
Oh.
Anyway,
Okay.
yeah. But anyway, so with that in mind, I'll sit down at the piano and start playing some ideas. And sure enough, that voice will appear like, this is dumb. This sounds childish, or this is too jazzy, or it's all those things. And eventually, about an hour into it, that voice finally shuts up because I just try to calm it down. Thank you for sharing. Thank you next is what I say to that voice. Thank you next. Thank you for sharing, as if it's a petulant child, right? And eventually, some good ideas start to come out. Something you can work with, and then my album that I'm working on now, I started writing last August. And I wrote it on this piano behind me, even though I've got this really great studio and Pro Tools and cool MIDI keyboard and everything like that, samples, everything.
Mm.
I literally, pencil and paper, I decided to go back to square one because I didn't want to get distracted with this beautiful technology. I didn't want to spend an hour looking for a snare drum sound. I just wanted to write the songs. So I sat down at the piano and actually wrote notes and then took those ideas and implemented them. But anyway, I think it's really like archaeology. You find something and you don't know if that something is the verse or the chorus or the bridge or an intro. Don't know what it is, but I like it. And you just start digging and dusting it away, working on it. And you realize, oh no, this is actually more of a verse. So I'll see where it leads me to a chorus, etc. And I guess my point of archaeology is that you don't know which way this thing you found is oriented. You don't know where it belongs in the picture, but you know it's something special. So you take that piece and you work with it.
Mm. Are you, for most of your songs, do you start with the harmony first at the piano or with a melody? Uh,
Yeah. Sometimes I don't always write at the piano. Sometimes it's on the digital audio workstation, and sometimes loops, rhythmical things inspire me, percussion loops and drums, and then you come up with the bass that goes with that, and you work your way that way. But other times I'm at the piano thinking more melodically, and because you can't play saxophone and piano at the same time, I'm always singing my songs. And I think actually a lot of times when I'm trying to find a melody, I will put the saxophone down because sometimes the fingers get in the way, all the notes get in the way. It's like, what am I
mm.
trying to say here over this? What would a singer sing up in this section here? And I try to sing something.
Yeah. I think that reminds me of what Paul Brown was telling me, in that first album. Sometimes I'll tell him like, I don't really have a strong melody on the saxophone for this tune. He'll be like, why don't you put down the saxophone and just hum something into the phone, or sing. And I'm not a singer by any means, but
Mm-hmm.
I found that quite liberating because if not, I'll be, my fingers do a lot of the work for me. I have, patterns and things that I'm so comfortable with, and that actually helped me to break the whole chain of repeating my ideas, which was
Yeah, I mean,
quite.
think about it. That's a very astute observation you just made there. I mean, for me, same thing. If my saxophone's in my hand, I'm a saxophone player. I'll do saxophone kind of things, right? And that drowns. Sometimes that it sounds kind of funny. Sometimes that part of me drowns out the other part of me that's trying to listen very carefully for something new. And so you got to listen. And so singing is good because it's not so loud. It doesn't overpower your thoughts in some ways.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks for sharing that. We have Donald from Atlanta. Nice to see you. And Adrian is saying the Coastal Access band was the best.
Well, I'm happy to say we are back together again. We're this and this current album. Actually, we've always been together. I've used the same guys on all my albums, but I'm definitely made sure to call each of the original members for this project.
Wow, that's
And
nice. When are
yeah.
we? When do you think you'll be releasing this new album?
The stage of production I'm at right now is what they call pre-mix. So I'm just finishing tracking. I've got a couple more keyboards and one more percussion to overdub or get done, and then go into tracking. I'm sorry, mixing, and then mastering. So
Mm,
um, I could have it out by. I was going to be summer, but it looks like it's going to be fall. And it used
mm.
to be don't release in the fall because all your summer touring's over. But no one's touring, so it
Yeah,
doesn't make a
yeah,
difference.
yeah. Cool. We'll definitely be looking out for that. We have Xavier here says, "Love the early albums, Walk a Mile and Remember Catalina."
Great, thanks. I appreciate that.
Which,
Well, go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, it reminds me of something I would love to ask and for you to share as well because of the name Catalina. So maybe you could, I read this. I think a long while ago. I think you posted this story about how you met your wife.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So would you be kind enough to share it for those people who don't know
How
the
long is
story?
this? How long is this show?
As long as you want it
I'll
to
keep
be.
it concise. No, it was okay. Yeah, it was my first year with the Rippingtons. It was 1989, and my first tour ever with anybody, and it was with the Rippingtons. And we were scheduled to play the Catalina Jazz Festival, so that was just a wonderful time. And we stepped on stage and we were playing "Dream of the Sirens," which is sort of a rockin' tune, kind of loud rock tune. And I saw Shantae in the third row, right in the center. She had saved up money to come to the Jazz Tracks Jazz Festival. And so our eyes met, and that was literally it. I went over to the keyboard player with all the confidence in the world and say, "There she is." We're still playing music. I'm yelling to him, "There she is." And he goes, "Who?" And I said, "My wife." And then I went to talk to her after the show because I figured we had some sort of a connection. So I went right out to into the audience after the show to talk to her. I said, "Let's go get a drink. Let's go, hang out." And she said, "No, I want to listen to Acoustic Alchemy." So I thought she was blowing me off, but it's because she paid good money to see the concert. So after Acoustic Alchemy, we went to Luau Larry's and we just had a great time. And we got carried away and ended up playing billiards all night at this billiard hall. And she was with a friend, and I was with the road manager for the Rippingtons at the time. And it got so late that the water taxis stopped running. She was there with her on her folks' boat. So I had to, along with the road manager who did more of it, Donnie was his name. He we stole a dinghy. He like fired it up. Someone's dinghy. I don't know whose it was. We all four of us jumped in and took her to her boat, and we had our first kiss on the swim step of that boat. So that was a million years ago, 1989. So it's been a wild ride, but it's a really great. I always tell people we started a great conversation that night. One of those things where time just flies and you're just talking and so interested in this person. We started a great conversation that has never ended, and that's the truth. So
Wow, that's
yeah.
that's just incredible. I was telling my wife this story last night, and she was like, "That really sounds like a Hollywood, rom-com type of story. You should sell this story to, you know, a script writer, and it could be in a movie, man. That's so incredible. And your daughter is called Catalina, right?
Yeah, so it made sense when we went to name our daughter. It was like, well, Catalina was the first name on the list because that's where we met, and we thought about 100 other names, and we finally came right around to Catalina again.
Wow, that's really
Yeah.
amazing. What a great story. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing it. When I read it the first time, I was like, that's really so incredible.
I
Really
mean,
beautiful.
yeah, I mean, it's been I've lost track of the number. Someone can do the math out there for me. 89 until now, but it's a lot of years. Ups, downs, lefts, rights, the whole deal. But I think that's what defines any relationship. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Okay, we're gonna jump back into saxophones. uh, we have Ben asking a question. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the Trevor James and how that helped you better get your sound out of your head.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So um, the what I like about the Trevor James sound is it's got a great sound. It's, first of all, the technical things, um, the actual sound of the horn is very full to me. I don't know how else to describe it. You know, you've heard the term core a lot. And to me, what that means is it's got a balanced sound of the fundamental sound, whatever note you're playing, and its overtones, but not in a harsh way. A lot of times, a lot of horns can be what I call top heavy. That is, you hear the note, a D or an F or something. You hear that note, but you also hear a lot of strident overtones. I guess it has to do with the design or the metal or something. I don't know. But with the Trevor James, not so. It's for me a nice sound. That's the first thing. And then scale is another thing, and I find them the tenor in particular, because I maybe it's because I spend more time on the tenor lately, but it just feels good. I can find where I'm supposed to be on the horn, just as a natural fit. Absolutely.
Mm. And I think you've been playing Yamaha horns for a very long time, and then even on the Ishimori tenors as well.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, so how did you first get associated with Trevor James?
Through Steve Cole. Steve started playing them, and Steve was real particular about his horns. He played a Selmer balanced action, a vintage one, for
Yeah.
years. So I stood right next to him. So I think I know his sound better than he knows his sound because I'm hearing it from the other end. I mean, like
Mm,
2 feet away. But um, he was very particular about his sound. He's very, like, he needs to sound this way, needs to feel this way. And when he got his Trevor James, I was playing my Yamaha at the time, but he's like, took him back. He's like, wow, this thing's got something. And he worked with it. And, several months later, it was like, okay, I'm getting this thing. And then when he went back to his balance, I think he felt like his new home was the Trevor. So got
mm,
me intrigued for sure. So I checked it out and I felt the same way. It's a really fine horn.
mm. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And let's see. Oh, we have a question here from Chris. Chris says, Jeff, what headphones are you using?
For the well, I got these in ears. These are Westone AM Pro 30s for the in ear stuff. They're quite comfortable and real flat response. But these other ones, what did I do with them? They're I forget what here they are. DT 770 Pros. I mixed Let It Ride with these things. They're really very balanced sound and mostly very comfortable if you're going to be wearing them for hours. Um, I tried. I can speak with a bit of knowledge. I went through probably about 10 or 12 different brands of headphones because I really wanted to get a good pair, and this is them. And I've seen a lot of other musicians wearing these because they're so comfortable and they are not hyped in any direction. They're very even response.
Mm.
DT 770 Pro.
And the brand is DT or the
Dan,
model?
yeah, I think that's model. I want to say I forgot the name of the brand. Is it Denon? I don't know. Someone could Google that. You'll find it. DT
Let me
770 Pro.
770
Yeah, Pro.
Pro. Okay. I'm gonna type it in and you guys can check it out.
And that's
Um,
that's another thing. I've had them for so many years. I forgot what they are. Okay, biodynamic. It says it on the side.
ah,
Biodynamic.
nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And Adrian says, thanks for sharing your love story. You've got a beautiful daughter too.
Thank you. Yeah, she's looking at colleges. She's been looking at colleges all day.
Wow. Wow. Time flies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. Let's see. I think we have I think just now you mentioned your current latest album, Let It Ride. And was that your first album which was independent?
It was. Let me think about that. No, I'm sorry. No. Let It Ride was on native language. The one after that, called Fly Away, was my first independent. Yeah, and
Mm,
and Fly Away was in 2017, so that's my most recent. And
mm,
the one I'm working on now will also be independent.
mm. So maybe would you mind sharing a bit about, that the whole concept of going with a label and signing as or going as an independent. I guess all your previous albums were with label. So what made you decide to go independent?
That's simple question. I didn't have a deal, and I still don't actually have a deal. And now the difference is I don't want a deal. Not yet, unless someone waves a bunch of money at me. Here's the deal: in the past, they were all modest labels. All I was with Fahrenheit Records first, then Native Language, which is a pretty. It was a independent label, but pretty major in its amount of artists. And then with Shawnee for one album, and then back to Native Language, and then I went independent. And with so I don't have as great a story as other artists in terms of dollar amounts and all that. It was always very modest, but the big advantage of a label is the upfront cost. They take care of that. They pay for the recording, and that's about it actually. They pay for the recording, and hopefully you have a little left over to live off of while you record. But then they pay for the most expensive part, which is advertising and production, manufacturing, and advertising and promo, etc. And the game has changed so much in the last 15 years, even 10 years, that you can actually survive. And actually, I made a spreadsheet of my flyaway CD because I was just kind of curious. Every dollar, every single penny I spent on this column, everything I made in the other column. And I'm happy to say I'm way in the black, and I never have been on any other album. Because I'm always owing the record label more money, so I don't get such and such a cut until I pay him back. But this has been much more rewarding, not only financially but artistically. And yes, it does take more time because I have to go very slowly as I can afford to record. I'll record for a little bit and stop and save some more money and do it again. But the payoff, I've seen it in black and white, is absolutely worth it.
Hmm. That's really interesting. And yeah, I guess I think I asked Steve the same question as well. And he also gave some valuable insights. And I think I see so many musicians in the contemporary jazz scene now, choosing to go independent as well. I've noticed like Brian Culbertson, Jared Albright, and Adam Hawley, whom I'm working on my second album with. Yeah, after
Mm-hmm.
3 albums, he decided to go independent as well. So we've had numerous conversations about this. So yeah, it's really nice to hear from you. So would you, I think just now you said, unless they're throwing a nice dollar amount at you, would you ever consider going back with a label?
I've seen the math on the back end. In other words, I've seen the splits that if they give me X amount of money, they're going to take this percentage on the back end of the sales. And having now done it as an independent, meaning I'm the label, so I'm getting all I'm getting 100% of that. It's like I can't. At this time, I will say no. At this time, it's like I can't do it. And
Mm,
especially even as something as simple as purchasing your own CDs to sell at a gig. That is a very upfront on the front lines kind of cost as a performing artist, and
yeah.
as an independent, you're spending $1.18 per whatever, and but you have to include shipping and packaging and all that stuff. But so
Yeah.
it's way more beneficial.
Mm, yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Um, let's see. Xavier has a question. He asks, "How did Jeff join the Rippingtons following the footsteps of Brandon Fields and other great players? That was such a great pairing. I'm not sure exactly which part of the
I
question."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can speak to some of this, and I have a funny story I could share. So, um, first of all, as I mentioned before, Brandon is a phenomenal virtuoso player, and to follow in his footsteps is the hardest thing I've ever had to do, because people are used to hearing that beautiful sound, and then I hit stage, and for the first couple years when I was with the group, after every concert they'd ask me, "Where's Brandon? When's he coming back?" And it's like they didn't mean to be insulting. They were just they
Yeah.
missed that sound.
Yeah.
So I did my best to improve my skills, et cetera, to so they wouldn't notice the disparity or anything like that. That's my goal
Mm,
anyway. But it was tough. It was tough. And I wanted to tell one story. the Rippingtons were in Aruba, the island of Aruba, a great jazz festival. And it's the kind of jazz festival where there aren't chairs, like there's a high stage and everyone just stands and watches. So we had to follow Candy Dulfer, who, if you've ever seen her show, it's like, you know, sensational, funky town, fantastic high energy show. And I'm thinking, oh God, I got to follow her. So I was already feeling insecure. And we hit the stage, and who is in the audience, kind of like listening, like really listening, not just casually listening, but like it was Michael Brecker. And I'm thinking, oh my God, don't freak out, don't freak out. And just be cool. And all my self coaching was talking to me louder than my own playing. Like, just stay calm, breathe in, breathe out. Watch your pitch, watch your pitch. Okay, you're playing sharp now. Just relax a little. That whole thing. That inner voice took over. The director, I call him, the dictator director. And because I didn't want to sound bad in front of Michael Brecker or Candy for that matter, or anybody, but or the audience, right? But um, I can honestly say my perception was it was like the worst performance I've ever done. Just I was off of my game. I was too rattled. I couldn't get there. Had a bad read. Everything was just bad. Here I am in Aruba complaining about something, right? But it was just, for me, I was kind of depressed after that show. So I said to myself, well, you know what? Be professional. Why don't you at least go out and shake hands and say hello, introduce yourself to Michael Brecker. I'm going to tell him how much he's meant to me and how much I love his playing, right? So put away my horn, go out there. I see him over there. I walk up to him. It's not Michael Brecker. It's some other guy who looked remotely like him. And the moral of the story is I threw away a perfectly good performance. I threw it away by psyching myself out, right? So it's amusing. I laughed. I felt stupid, I was kind of like, oh God, I can't, one of those moments, right? We all happen. But here's the deal: when you aren't motivated to practice or don't feel like touching your horn, just remember. I remember those moments because it is the training, it's the practicing, it's the daily ritual of playing, and more than practicing is an ugly word. It's the connecting with music. Not even your horn so much as connecting with music. Hearing music, making music. Hearing music, making music. The more you establish that connection every day, the more it'll be there for you when your nerves are kind of acting up or you might be nervous or whatever. The more you train, the more often you train, the more you're ready. Just like an athlete. That's why they train every single day.
Yeah.
So they're ready. Yeah.
It's a funny story. And it reminds me of this post that Bob Reynolds did. He's an incredible
He
saxophonist. And
is. Yeah.
yeah, same thing. He had, a similar situation. He was at a jam session sitting in, I think it wasn't a jam session. He was sitting in at a show in New York and they called him up to play. And he knew Michael Brecker was in the crowd. So he was already sweating. And the pianist decided not to call a tune and just started playing on the piano. And he was freaking out. It's like, Michael Brecker is there and the pianist decides not to even call a tune and just start playing, and the rest of the band had to figure out and just join in. So in the end he realized there was a tune called Invitation, which he was like, oh, okay. Thankfully he knew it, so he played, but at the same time he was so worried, and after playing that tune he left the stage just feeling dejected, like, man, what must Michael Brecker think about that solo. So he said he was leaving the club, and then someone tapped him on his shoulder. He turned around, and it was Michael Brecker. And Michael Brecker actually said, "Hey Bob, you have a great tone. What mouthpiece are you using?" And so in the end, they hung out outside, and started talking. And I think Bob Reynolds asked if he could take some lessons because he had this whole stack of transcriptions that he's been doing. And Michael Brecker actually said, "I don't think there's anything I can teach you, but let's keep in touch through
Oh,
email or
that's
something
great.
like that."
Yeah,
You know.
and I met him once, and he is that sweet. He was a very kind man. He'd be the last person to criticize anybody. So yeah,
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I
yeah.
think Eric Marinto was telling me some stories about him as well, and yeah, just incredible. But yeah, I think it's a good lesson for all of us. Like, I think that overthinking. Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of it also when I play. especially, if I think that there's someone, in the crowd. But also, I guess for me, I try to remind myself that there could be someone, special in the crowd, and you never know, every gig, what it could lead to, in that sense, to always try to, you know, put my best foot forward in that
Yeah,
sense.
you remember the American Idol? You ever watched that whole series?
Yeah.
For a while there, one of the judges was she's a great producer and composer, Cara Diaguardi. Is that
Yeah.
Diaguardi?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, she said the best. Oops, I disappeared. I'm
Oops.
back. Yeah,
Okay.
am I back? Okay.
Yeah.
Kara said the best thing because the contestant was nervous as you can expect, and she asked that person, "Now, what are you afraid of up there?" And I just want them to like. That's all any performer wants. It's like I want them to enjoy it. I want them to like what I do. That's it. Right? It's not even about the ego, like being egotistical. Like I want you to think I'm the greatest. I just want you to enjoy what you hear. That's what any honest performer will say. And she says, okay, change your focus. Don't worry about them loving you or loving what you do. You just need to share what you love. It's like simple as that. That's it. Just every
Mm.
time you're on stage, just be in your bedroom loving music and just be that person who connects to music every day and then connect on stage.
Mm, yeah, that's great. And just talking about American Idol just reminded me. I watched this documentary on Netflix recently about Adam Lambert and Queen. Um, Adam Lambert fronting Queen now, and it really started because of American Idol, and
Yeah.
Adam Lambert didn't win. But I didn't know this, but I think on the finale they had Queen come and perform with the two finalists. And I think Queen, if I'm not wrong, they already had their eye out for him. And then when they actually got to perform together on stage, Adam Lambert, of course, was freaking out probably. And I think after that performance, that sealed the deal. Playing on the American Idol stage with Queen, and even Queen, Brian May was like, okay, I think we have hope of coming out as a band again,
Yeah,
because they,
I think it's a good fit.
yeah, I really can't see anyone else who could fit right now,
Yeah.
and the amazing thing was both parties needed each other, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I got to watch them live actually in Singapore.
Wow.
Um, wow, it was incredible, and Queen is one of my wife's favorite bands, so it was a amazing moment. But yeah, you never know, like, and I think it was mentioned that if Adam Lambert won American Idol, he wouldn't have been able to join
He
Queen.
wouldn't have been available. Yeah, he'd been doing his own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there will be a contract, he would have to, do deals with them. And so coming second was, yeah, it's just pretty incredible, watching that. I think it's I forgot what's the title, but yeah, it's on Netflix right now. A Queen and Adam Lambert documentary, which is really good. So yeah, you
Hmm.
guys should check it out. And Jeff, I think I want to ask you this question also, which it brought back memories because I was thinking about me, playing with Larry Carlton and playing in the US for like the first time. um, did you ever feel any resistance, like being of, Asian heritage when you first started out, in LA?
Good question. Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. I don't know. I could have been. I don't know. Not that I was aware of. Yeah.
Mm, yes.
Um.
Yeah.
I. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I
Mm,
can't really think of anything. I was working like in terms of gigging and stuff. I was gigging a ton. Uh, not big gigs, but little gigs, club gigs, and that like type of thing. Is more than I would, as much as I'd like to. And
mm,
I've always I worked in a lot in L.A. And then touring wise, yeah, from that point on, I was with the Rips for such a long time. So
mm,
I don't
mm,
know. Yeah, I don't think
mm.
so.
Mm, but that's great, yeah, and interesting observation. I last week I was Michael Paulo was on the show. We were
Hmm.
talking a bit about this. Him starting off, and yeah, but definitely interesting. And I guess it's great that you didn't feel any sort of resistance. Yeah, for
I,
me, yeah.
yeah. Do you felt something?
For me, it was, I won't say it was resistance, but it was definitely something that I thought about a lot, especially with the first album. So, Paul Brown was just throwing out the idea like, hey, are you sure you want to use your name on the album, because the music is good, but do you want to give the radio, the people at radio a chance to prejudge your music, because my last name is not the easiest to pronounce in the US. It's not common, so he's giving me examples like how he suggested name changes for Huge Groove, Boney James, and Jesse J, and all three worked amazing.
I guess so. Yeah.
So he had I understood where he was coming from, like he's had success when he made those suggestions
Uh
three
huh.
previous times and they all worked in that sense. So he offered the same thing in that sense. Like, why
So
don't
what were
you?
tell me some names he came up with for you? I'm curious. I'm gonna write
Wow,
them down. I'm gonna write.
I
Hold
was
on. Let me write them down.
the front runner was definitely Kelly Jones, like Cali.
No, no. Okay, next one.
I can't remember some of the others, but that was, and to the point that Paul decided to start testing the name. So for the rest of the 2 weeks that I was in LA, he was like, "Hey, this is Kelly. Hey, this is Kelly. Hey, this is Kelly." Even when I went up, we went to sit in with DW3 at a venue, and he's just like, "This is Kelly Jones from Singapore." you know, it's but yeah, and I had this I think Sandy Shaw came over, but she was quite adamant that I shouldn't change my name because she felt that, if anything, it could even add some, intrigue in that sense. So we had,
Chia is. Am I pronouncing it Chia right?
yeah, Chia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not hard to pronounce. And that's there are chia seeds. Everyone knows. So
Yeah, Chia pets. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so but I felt that I think I definitely wanted to stay true to who I was, and just
That's
go
funny.
with it. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's resistance, but definitely something that I had to think about
Mm.
with that. And I think Paul told me that Boney James didn't put his face on the front cover for the first few albums, and that was a conscious decision also. Just yeah, so that was interesting, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely, I don't think I could have. I don't think I could have stuck with Kelly Jones, man. That would have been
That's
hilarious.
funny.
Uh, let's see some questions here. Raina asked Jeff, "Have you been with? How do I pronounce that?
Kilauea. That's a volcano. It's a group, but it's also named after a volcano in Hawaii. I have not played with them before. I know some of the guys in the band, in that band, the first incarnation of it. Dean Toba, bass. I think Greg Vale played saxophone.
Oh,
But no, I not I've never played with them. Yeah.
cool." And Adil says the life in LA is unbelievable
Oh,
concert.
that was
I
fun.
know a lot of people have talked about it. I haven't seen it myself, so I think it's on YouTube, right, Jeff? Do you know?
It is. It is. That was the one of the. That was back in the days of. We weren't actually. Here's some behind the scenes stuff you don't know. Live in L.A. was actually not recorded in L.A. We played the Greek Theater, which is in L.A. And then the next night we played the Ventura Theater for 2 nights. So that's where we filmed live in L.A. So it's kind of like L.A. close. It's an hour
Mm,
away. But anyway, so that's where we recorded it for 2 nights, and we pieced together the show from the different takes from the 2 nights. There was a
mm,
problem with the hi hat mic. Don Murray mixed it. He was a phenomenal engineer, but something happened. It happens. Some technical stuff happened,
mm,
so they couldn't use the hi hat from one night. So the drummer Tony Morales is such a good drummer with perfect time and consistent player. They were able actually to switch the hi hat on a couple of tunes from the previous night, and it worked in
yeah.
spots. It took a little editing, but it worked.
That's so crazy. It reminds me of this story Paul Brown told me. So David Sanborn did a live recording, a live album. And after he recorded, he wanted to overdub some saxophones. and he asked Paul if he could do it. And Paul was telling me like, how in the world are you gonna, come to my studio, and overdub a live recording? So I think he told me he had to play with the reverb a lot, and even bring up some like audience noises or something like that, which was, but yeah, I think Paul managed to pull it off, which
Yeah.
is, wow, for a live album. I mean, for hi-hats, for me, that's quite crazy to be able to.
Yeah.
Amazing. We have Miguel from Colombia. He says, Jeff, how do you get a transmission of expressivity in your solo? How do you express how to be expressive saxophone player?
Hmm. Yeah. I think it's really knowing your instrument, knowing how far to push it in terms of by expression I'm thinking what we perceive as emotion are all the saxophone affectations, vibrato,
Mm,
falling, scooping, and growling sometimes if needed, or just the way you kind of wisp off a note. All that stuff is interpreted as expression. And
mm,
I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is that it's not, a 1-to-1 ratio type of thing, but it's, for me, try to follow the singer in your head. Even though I might be playing a fast line or something like that. If I'm playing a melody, and I played a lot of good melodies with Russ Freeman, some of the most beautiful melodies, I try to approach it how a singer would approach it. So there's always that balance of, you can be technical and have a lot of fireworks and have excitement, but you also need to balance it with the, as Miguel is saying here, the expressive part, the emotional part. And that's just something that comes with time, I think. Listening to good music, and then having that good music kind of go through you. Try to make it
mm,
come out of your horn, right? And
mm,
in the studio is where I learned so much, because I can stop the playback and listen to myself. I mean, stop the record, start the playback and listen to myself. And I will be sitting there thinking, okay, well, will Miguel from Colombia feel this? I mean, I'm thinking about the audience. Will these guys, if he listens to this, will he feel what I'm feeling? And that's really the goal.
mm. Yeah, actually, Jeff, if I may ask a question, this is really for myself. In the past few weeks, I've been working on an album, actually a Christian album, a Hillsongs album. So I'm actually just playing keys and saxophone. So it's really stripped down acoustic of all my favorite Hill songs. And I was having so much fun, with the Jody Jazz pieces. I have the custom dark, I have the super jet even, and but after when I started to record myself, I love a guadala. I've had a metal guadala mouthpiece on tenor for a long time, and that's very close to the sound that I like. And then, I started playing the HR and the HR custom dark and loving that sound, wanting to go on the dark side. But then once I started recording, I found that, does it really sound like me? Is this really me? And man, I went into a spiral. I took like probably 20 takes of each song, trying back to my Guadala, the Super Jet, all the HRs and synthetic reeds, cane reeds, and all.
Uh-oh,
Man,
danger, danger.
it was a huge issue. But in the end, I settled back with my HR, Jody Jazz, and I thought, okay, this is who I am right now. I still can hear me inside, just a slightly different timbre. And I know you have played around, with the, you love the DVs, and in certain phases you went to the darker sound, and now you sound amazing on the HR custom. Where
Thanks.
especially when you record, like, how do you really how do you decide what sound to go for? Is it based on your CD, the project, or based on the tune, or
It's all very good questions. And that's my life mission, is to get a good sound, It is. So I guess it starts with you. It starts with playing the saxophone properly with your diaphragm. And what I learned from, again, the gentleman I spoke about earlier, Leo Potts, he taught me this concept. It's very important. Saxophone players, the saxophone wants to be, if you just played it normally without adjusting anything in your diaphragm, it might be a little bit flat on top, might be a little bit sharp on the bottom of the horn. It's just saxophones back then were not made the best. And so to compensate that, saxophone players get in a bad habit of pinching on the high notes and dropping big time on the low notes. And it makes your sound inconsistent because you've got different amounts of pressure on that mouthpiece. And that's what makes your sound like this, thin on top and a little bit too out of control on the bottom, right? Too honky on the bottom. And what we want is this, you know. And so when you engage, so everything starts with the diaphragm. When the diaphragm's engaged, your sound goes from this to this. It can stay focused. That's number one. And then after it leaves your body, the air with intent leaves your body. Yes, the reed does matter, the mouthpiece, the neck, the kind of horn you're playing, even the screws on the horn add a little bit of something to it. It all matters, but not as much as the diaphragm and your mind and your heart and soul. That's most. But I think for recording, for years I was trying to find a darker mic. I used a U89, Neumann U89, which is, if you look at the frequency pattern, it's rolled off in the high end. And it's kind of has a little bit like this. And it would be great for a bright saxophone or a bright trumpet. And that's what they're used for. So I used that for many albums. And then I changed my sound to make it darker. I thought, well, this is sort of a dull sounding mic. I need to get rid of it because I changed. And I got this one, which I'm pretty happy with, the 414 BULS. It seems to be a good fit for now. And then if I want to go flute or on soprano, I might use the Dragonfly because it's got a brighter frequency. So that's the next part that your sound hits is the mic. That's something you want to consider. And then mic pre. I go through either a Neve 1073 or I've got a Universal Audio 610 right here. And even that world, for all you geeks out there, I changed the tubes on this thing. I got Golden Lion tubes. I tried them out. There's different kinds of tubes you can buy, and they're not very expensive, and you just swap them out. And these Gold Lion tubes, I'm really happy with them. They changes the sound of the mic pre for the better. Yeah, there you have.
Yeah, like would you ever use, like, let's say the DV on a song and the HR on another song, like in the same album, or you would keep it consistent throughout?
I have done that. Yeah, I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song called Deep Blue, which is on a couple albums ago, Peace of Mind. And before I recorded that song, I wanted it to be really a soft sound. I want it to be very soft, no edges. And I couldn't get the sound with my DV. It was just too bright. So I grabbed a mouthpiece off the shelf, which I still have, and I just sanded it. I just went for it, which I don't recommend. It was an old blank that I had, and I got it to play. I'm surprised as anyone else, but I still have it on the shelf. It's not loud. It can't play real high. It can't do anything, but it can play soft. It's one thing I was going for, you know. Again, that's kind of going back to what I was talking about before. The sound is in my head. I want it to sound like this. Now I got to make it happen.
Yeah. Jeff, I think now might be a good time if we can have you play a song on alto. That might be
Sure.
cool. And we can't tell people what that new mouthpiece is yet, but it's also a new mouthpiece. It's going to be launched soon.
Okay.
So
I'm going to play a ballad. Let me play a ballad so you can really hear this thing, the
Mm.
mouthpiece. Okay, so I'll play a ballad. This is called A Quiet Goodbye. And I got to remember, was I supposed to switch something on my end? I can't remember.
I think it's okay if I'm not playing with you.
Okay. Give me a thumbs up if I did this right, and then before I start the track. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jeff, for that. That was beautiful. Really, really nice on the alto. And we have Ben here saying the tone's beautiful. Thank you so much, Ben. And let's
Good.
see.
Okay. All right. I'm back. Got me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, it's I love this warmer timbre that you have, and it still sounds, yeah, beautiful. Still can push.
I was going to say, I'll play off of, maybe I can do this. I don't know if you still getting this mic here.
Yeah.
Um, so about emotion, so there's two things that play for me on a ballad. It's like you're really exposed, so intonation is important. I'm trying.
Mm,
I'm never perfect. I'm always striving to get there, but so it's the diaphragm and all that. But you have to add to that the emotion, which is not perfect slotted pitches. Emotion is sort of a sighing or a scooping, right? You just have to know where center is in your the way it feels, where center of the pitch is, and then you can play with it once you know where it is. But you have to establish this first, right? So like that song involves an open fifth going back and forth kind of quickly,
mm,
and if I'm in too loose with my embouchure, it won't even go up the upper octave. It'll go
mm,
down.
mm,
If I'm too tight, it won't even go back down again. So the balance point is where you can play all your notes without changing for every note. It needs to say one. I'm of the school of one embouchure for all your notes, B
mm,
flat to high F. Yeah, and if you hold your diaphragm correctly, you can do it, and you can do it in tune.
mm. Yeah, and it's so nice to hear the acoustic sound of the saxophone as well. Um, yeah, thank you for showing that. And I think there was a question. Ben asked, "What can we practically do to train the diaphragm?"
So I have students do this all the time. I'm going to pull my chair back. It's it's a good party trick. I have them sit on the edge of their chair. I have them sit on the edge of their chair and take your feet off the ground. You can't really see my feet, but take them so they're off. And the only way for me to sit this way is to use my diaphragm. This is how I know I'm using my diaphragm. And I have my students trill an octave, which sounds, if you saw that written on a page, you'd freak out. But it's a way of tuning your embouchure. You should be able to, with proper diaphragm support, trill any note, an octave of any note. And I like the G because the left hand is doing nothing. I use my right hand to push the trigger so that it almost disassociates from my body. And so if I'm too tight, I can't get back down. If I'm too loose, I can't get up. And the sweet spot is where you can hit both, to where it sounds like both notes are happening almost at the same time.
Definitely
That's,
gonna try that
and
myself.
yes, why not? And you actually get a little gym workout at the same time. But I do a lot of, lately I've been working with a lot of triads. So I don't know how much we want to get into the actual harmony stuff, but a bebop trick that a lot of people do is like on a G dominant seventh chord, you can apply. Here's the G dominant seventh chord, G, B, D, F. You can apply to that the flat six major triad. Like what? Flat six? It's this one. It's E flat, G, and B flat. So the G is just the root, but the B flat's the sharp 9 and the E flat's the flat 13. But so we got this. Just like making interesting shapes that might work. I just kind of, I call them dance moves. Like I'm going to put this E flat triad here. I'm going to work it into a line and I'm going to land on a C chord. And I just practice that over and over again so that when I'm playing a song, it'll be ready to go.
Oh, that's a nice, very nice color as well.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other little things I've been working with different triads. It's just something to work on.
Yeah, and I think even with the diaphragm, I was very used to playing high baffle mouthpieces for a long time, and I probably just didn't use as much air support, because I was letting the baffle do a lot of work. So actually, when I tried the HR Custom Dark for the first time on tenor, I was like, wow, I actually had to work really hard to get a nice, rich, and full sound. And then, I told Jody actually that I think it helped my tone overall. So when I went back to my the HR, which is not even supposed to be a very bright piece, I found that I had a much bigger sound and more powerful sound actually. So that's why I've been liking it, and trying to just work for a while, at least this period. I've been playing the HRs on all my saxophones, and just trying to, even alto. I love a bright sound, but I felt that now with a darker mouthpiece, I have to use my diaphragm more and work out the sound. Do you feel that way when you play darker mouthpieces? Do you usually have to push a lot more air?
Yeah, they require a little bit more effort, but to me, I don't mind it because I like the sound better. This new mouthpiece actually is a nice. How do I want to say? I don't want to say compromise because that would mean it's losing something. But I like the balance of its warm sound, but it's easy playing. It's easy to control. That's why I like it. I've been playing it for only just for a week and a half, so I'm kind of new on it. But I do like it. Still getting used to it. Yeah, there's a good. Like I said, I'm a student too. I downloaded a bunch of these online lessons from My Music Masterclass. Have you heard of that? My Music Masterclass.
Yes.
Tom Scott does a masterclass. Bob Shepard.
Mm,
Doug Webb, who's a phenomenal player, talks
mm,
mostly about harmony. He doesn't talk so much about sound, but more a jazz harmony. But
mm,
the one I really enjoyed I liked all of those, but Brandon Fields has one where he plays his New York Meyer, which is just a five, and
mm.
he plays the beautiful Brandon sound as you'd expect. Then he
Yeah.
goes now to make it sound funky, like the Maceo Parker thing. He lifts his. You should see the video because I don't want to misexplain it. But he's using his tongue in such a way he lifts it higher so it shoots the air, sort of like a. And I think you kind of naturally do that when you hear. If you're going for a big open sound, you want ah, and the tongue just is relaxed on the bottom of your
Mm,
mouth, right? Ah.
yeah.
But if I wanted to play a little funky lick, it's a different attitude in my mouth, more. It's more of my tongue is a little higher, so the air is shooting by faster. In effect, the tongue
Mm,
is the baffle.
mm, yeah. That's interesting. I need to go and figure out. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Like you get a huge range of sound with that mouthpiece, and yeah, Brendan
And
Fields. Yeah, just amazing. He plays. Yeah, I think he also likes mouthpieces that don't have a huge baffle, and
yep.
then he finds a way to get it out. And I guess he's been doing that for probably 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Getting that sound out. So yeah, even Mark Russell, I think he's on a Maya as well. Playing like blues and everything, crazy altissimo, and yeah, he's not using a high baffle mouthpiece. So
Yeah, I not really a huge fan of baffles because yes, they're easier to play. It's easier to play high notes, but you don't get the depth in the sound from that. I don't think. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Ben says, "Cool, definitely gonna try out that diaphragm exercise later when he gets home." Hey, Roxy. Roxy says, "Thanks for that, Jeff." Roxy
You're
from
welcome.
Manila, the Philippines.
Oh wow,
And
you're welcome.
oh, Adil says, "Can get six pack after that workout."
That's right. Two double benefits.
Oh, we have Cole, Mr. Saxman from Thailand. Hi, brother Cole. Thank you so much for being here. He says, Jeff, I'm your fan. Thanks for sharing the tips. Um,
You're welcome.
Cole is an amazing, amazing saxophonist in Thailand. Great guy. Let's see. Oh, we have Bharat from India. Nice to see you. Thank you so much.
Hello,
I
Bharat.
think you are my first viewer from India, or actually that has bothered to leave in the comments to tell us where you're from. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. It's quite a nice international crowd, uh, which is always great. Yeah, I think I definitely, Jeff, we are talking about this. You have your album coming up. Would you like to preview?
I spoke too soon because I realized I can't. Uh, if I open up my Pro Tools session, it's in a different bit rate and it'll mess up this connection. So it's like I can't play.
Uh,
I'm sorry.
okay, no,
Yeah,
no worries, no
yeah.
worries. Would you like to play another tune for us?
Sure, sure. Should I do the? Let's see. How about another alto tune or a tenor?
Up to you. Or maybe we can let the audience decide.
You guys
And
decide. What do you want to hear, tenor or
yeah,
alto?
yeah, let Jeff know. And Jeff, later, remember we wanted to do a
Oh
small
yes,
giveaway.
yes. So
Yeah.
actually, yeah. Let's see. How do you want to do it?
Okay, maybe before we do this, we should talk a bit about the Sax Pack. And I
Okay.
think I'm not sure if everyone knows about it, but it's an amazing group that you formed with Steve Cole. So how did this idea come about?
It came about as a joke. It was like I was backstage. I was on tour with Acoustic Alchemy, and one of their guitarists, Miles Gilderdale, was sitting next to him, and we're watching HBO The Rat Pack remake before we went on stage. So we're just kind of sitting there watching television. I thought that's so cool. I want to do something like that. And he turned to me as a joke, as he always did, like, "That's it, the Sax Pack." I said, actually, that's a really good name. So I literally trademarked it the next day and also got the
I
domain name, saxpack.com.
wow.
And I went about and called the first two phone calls were to Steve Cole, who I didn't know that well. I just met him once at some
Wow.
awards show we went to. Steve Cole and Kim Waters, who I had recently met. We did a gig together in some place. I can't remember
Yeah.
where. We never played together, but we run into each other backstage.
Wow.
And I thought those guys are really good players, and I think our sounds would go together. And both of them said sure. And so the first wow for Sax Pack was just each of like it was very much like the shows you see today, where I'll do my part of the set and you do your part of the set, and then maybe we'll play at the jam at the end because we didn't have any material. But we decided because the chemistry was so good that we should write songs together. And we were on three different labels at the time, too, which is difficult because
Mm.
each label would say, "Oh no, my artist is not going to go on that label and record, and my
Mm.
artist is not going to go." So we actually took a couple years to get it all worked out, and we did our first three CDs on Shawnee, and we write together, we recorded together, and even in the first one, we actually stood around the same microphone together.
Yeah, Steve mentioned that. That's crazy.
Something magical does happen, something called the group sound, where you have three saxophones blending naturally, not with mixing, not with fading, not with
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
actually listening to each other. And I think that's our sound, and it was an interesting sound, so we just went with it. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. Yeah. But
Mm.
there have been, as this is, I've lost track. Maybe year 16, even though this is sort of a dead year for everyone, right? I don't know if we count this year, but it's been about 16 years since 16 years since the Sax Pack started in 2004, and um, I know I've done every gig. I think Steve only had to miss a couple, but once in a while, Kim's schedule, whatever, couldn't do it. So
Mm.
we've had a lineup of guys, in kind of rotating chairs a little bit, featuring different people. And in years past, we've had Everett Harp, uh, Eric Marienthal, Michael Paolo, uh, Jakeem Joyner, and Marcus Anderson are the two guys you usually see. And once
Mm.
we actually play with Schiltz too. So we've had like other guys besides the three normal lineup.
Mm.
Yeah, over the
That's
years.
great. If if Steve can't make it, who would usually take over his part?
Um, I don't know who I'd call. Tell you the truth, in the U.S. that is,
Mm.
um, maybe Everett. Everett. Yeah.
Mm. Mm. That's really cool. Yeah, and
Yeah.
but it's so interesting that, when you decided, to ask Steve Cole and Kim Waters, you didn't know them that well. How do you know instinctively that, hey, those guys are who I want?
Yeah, I was very persuasive. No, but well, like I said, let's just give it a, like. Here's the deal. I think this is if there's a message here. This is it. We had a bit of success with the Sax Pack and a good long run. I mean, 16 years or what, 15 years of touring and stuff, because our creed was this is just for fun. We have our serious solo careers, and this is just for fun. And if it's not fun, we're not going to do it. And that's actually an attitude you should have with everything. I think,
Mhm.
like, don't take it so seriously. If you take it seriously, you're too seriously, you're doing something wrong. Especially with this kind of music, entertainment. Should be
Yeah.
levity, and it's half music and half humor. That's the thing I love about the group. It's joking. How we joke backstage, we joke on stage, and that's what's fun. A
Mm.
la the Rat Pack. That's why everyone loved them because they were themselves on stage, as
Mm.
obnoxious as that might have been at times, and as obnoxious as we are sometimes. That's what we
Mm.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I think maybe what we could do to end off the show is, Jeff, maybe if you could play one more tune for us, and
Sure.
then we're gonna share more about this giveaway that you've been so kind
Well,
to
I'm going to tell
offer.
you. I want to tell you about your gift, which is going to be by way of give away. So,
Yeah, sure.
Daniel, this is from me and Steve, but mostly me because I'm paying for shipping. We're going to give you a Sax Pack co-
Wow.
coffee mug, and
Thank you so
this will hold a lot of coffee or soup if you prefer.
Wow, yeah, it looks huge. Thank you so much for that. I take that as my as my invitation to join you guys. If you ever need a sub.
Yes, if you have a mug, you may enter. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you so
so
much.
let's see. How about sing along at home? This is the AU song. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much, Jeff. And I really, really love that tune. And I think I think for a lot of your shows, if you don't play that song, I think the crowd will start to get a bit upset, right? That's definitely gonna be one of the crowd favorites.
Oh, thank you. That song was written by a very good friend, Dave Kohansky, who's working on the new album with me. He's the musical director for American Idol for years, but has gone on to work with some major touring acts as a musical
Oh,
director, yeah, and musical producer. And so he had time during the quarantine to help me out with my
oh,
project. So I'm so thankful. But he wrote that song, and I have honestly never got tired of playing it because if you could tell, the chords move in such a way that you can't really rest in any one place. They keep on moving. So you have to kind of stay on your toes. Even after all these years, I'm still thinking about what to play next.
yeah, yeah. To weave I remember jamming many times along to that tune. To weave a nice cohesive solo through the changes is it's good fun
It
to
is.
work
It
on.
is. It
Yeah,
is.
to
It's
work
fun.
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you, Javier, for your super sticker. Really, really appreciate it. And we have, yeah, Cole Mr. Saxman says, what amazing sound. Yeah, so Brother Cole, that was the Jody Jazz HR Custom Dark. Cole Mr. Saxman has a great shop in Thailand also, so he's been ordering. He ordered a few of those tenors. So that's
I'll tell,
the
this that was actually my first time like really blowing like concert level with that mouthpiece. I gotta say, here's my experience. This is like literally the first impression I can actually
uh,
give you, and that is this: I like it. When it comes time to kind of play softly, it's there for you. You don't have to struggle to play soft, right? But
yeah.
on the choruses, on the stuff, I was noticing on this mouthpiece, the G's and the C's, which I have to really pay attention to and concentrate usually, were slotting really nicely on this horn. I felt
Mm,
very comfortable. Like, oh, okay, this note's going to go where it's supposed to go.
yeah.
These are the things you think about when you're playing.
No, the range is incredible. I mean, that is a funky tune and you're pushing it and it has a really, really nice contemporary sound as well. I think not many people would think that the HR custom duck would be able to do that, but you definitely
It
shown it.
can it can do it. They all took both all their lines of mouthpieces can
Mm, mm,
do what you need them to do.
cool. I think right after this I'm gonna take mine again and play around more. Yeah, I think I just need more time to get really settled. I mean, I'm coming from a super high baffle to, one of the darkest ones, you know.
It If you give it time, you will sound like yourself. And then when you go back to the old piece, you'll go, no, I can't play that old piece.
Yeah, now if I go back to the high baffle ones, I'm starting to feel a bit odd while playing those. So I'm gonna have to stick to the dark side for a while. Chris says that sound is really awesome. Yeah, Chris
Okay.
plays tenor as well. He plays the HR, and I've been
Yeah.
telling him he needs to check out the custom dark for sure.
Yeah.
And wow, Adil has a very fine compliment. He says Jeff Kashiwa does not age.
Oh, I've got a Snapchat filter that has me as a teenager. I was just looking at the size because I don't know what size this is. I don't have my reading glasses here because I'm getting old. See, this is an 8. This is an 8.
Yeah, same as the one I have. I've been liking the size 8. And I think Jody told me that he prototyped the mouthpiece. He created it based on the size 8 and then developed the other sizes. So,
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well the 8 feels real good. It's a nice balance.
yeah, I was interested. I found that interesting as well because I thought most people would play a 7 or 7 star. But yeah, he likes it on the 8. Uh, Thank you, Ben, for the kind comments for being here. And Wendy says, thanks, Jeff, for the beautiful music. Nicole, beautiful tune. What's the tune's name? Let me
That last one,
share.
that last
Yeah,
one
the last one.
was called. Well, it's got 2 names. It's called the Ah Ooh song, Aahooh, the Ah Ooh song. But the real name's called Hyde Park, Hyde, Hyde Park.
I'm gonna pull it up now
So
and
Daniel,
share the link.
thank you. So
Let me
Daniel,
get
I
this.
was giving you the second to last mug, which
Oh yes.
will be going in the mail to
Thank
you
you so much.
tomorrow. And here is the very last one. So who shall we give this to? how you want to
Wow.
do this.
Yes. So Jeff is so kind to give away one more Sax Pack mic to those of you who are here with us. And I think Jeff will make it slightly easier. So um Jeff, do you want to ask the question? But I think maybe if they answer three correctly out of
Okay.
the,
Okay.
that should
So,
be good enough.
okay, good enough. So here's, is it like the first person to answer in the in the chat? Okay.
Yes,
So,
first person correctly. Yeah.
okay. So here's the question. We talked a moment ago about the Sax Pack. Now, the original lineup was myself, Steve Cole, and Kim Waters. Then there was a bunch of other players through the years who have come on board to help us out. So name three of those players.
Cool. So yes, write in the comments right now who are three of the other players who have played with the Sax Pack. The first person to get three correct answers will get a special limited edition Sax Pack mug from Jeff. Where thank you, Jeff, again. So Nicole says, "May I have it?" Yes, you can have it if you answer the question correctly. So let's see who's the first one to answer it correctly. If no one gets it correct,
I'm having him. Could be yours. Could be yours.
they might be rewinding the video now.
Sure. You can
Yeah,
do technological cheats.
yeah, whatever it takes. So yeah, guys, do let us know which are the three, any of the three other members that have played saxophonists, amazing saxophonists. That's the first time I realized that some of these guys have actually played with you. Okay, let's see. Hope you guys are not asleep yet. Okay, let's see. Adil says Eric Marienthal.
Correct.
Adil, so we need three names. Three out of the five or six that Jeff mentioned. So um Chris says, damn, Wikipedia only shows three names. So even Wikipedia doesn't know all the other members. So who are the others who have, played instead of Kim Waters?
And Steve Cole.
So some of you are giving one name. We need three names. Three names in a row. Yeah, we need it in one comment. So you can type three names in one comment. Three people who have played with the Sax Pack.
Well, heck, it's getting late. I'll take two names.
Yeah, probably your dinner is waiting already.
No,
Sorry for keeping you so
no.
long.
This is fun. This is a lot of fun.
We have correct answers from, yeah, but I think Ben is the closest. Now, Ben and Adil, you guys can type two or three names in the same
Oh,
comment.
hey, Daniel. While
Yes.
they're doing that, is it
Yes.
possible for me or you to play an MP3? Because I could play an MP3 premix from the new CD.
Yeah, yeah.
I
You
can play it.
it.
I can play it. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course I can. Of course I can. Let me throw it in my session here. I have
All
the
right. And
technology.
also, I think we have the first, we have the winner.
Oh, who is it? What did they say? What are
Oh,
their
wait.
answers?
Sorry. Adil's one came in first. So Adil says Marcus Anderson and Eric Marienthal.
And
Yes.
was there a third, or are we just going for two?
Shall we go for two? Because now there's a
That's
tie between
okay.
Chris and Adil. Chris and Adil, could you type three names? We need one more
Okay,
name.
we have to have a tiebreaker. One more name that
Yeah,
someone.
tiebreaker. So I think Chris got it. So Chris says Marcus, Eric, and Jakeem.
That's it. He got it.
Cool.
He got
Xavier
it.
says thanks, Google.
Hey,
Chris,
it's okay.
yes, Chris, you are the lucky winner of the last Sax Pack mug. Thank you so much. Maybe Jeff, you could send both over to me, and then I can pass one to
Okay.
Chris for
All
you.
right. We'll
Yeah,
do. We'll do.
he's a
I'll send him.
regular of our shop as well. I think he said he's gonna come down soon as well. So
All right.
thank you so much, Jeff, for doing that. That was very, very nice. surprise. We really appreciate it. And thank you for those who participated. It shows that you guys are still here with us. So we are also keeping you on your toes. So thank you, Chris. I'll pass the mic mark to you once I
Here,
got
just
it.
take it. Just take it.
Just grab it. Nicole is so funny. She says her Google is wrong.
As it often
Yeah,
is.
so funny. Yeah. Cool. Chris says he's gonna listen to many albums of the Sax Pack. Yeah,
Good
but
deal.
Jeff, if you don't mind, it will be amazing to be able to preview a track of your upcoming album.
Sort of a little listening party. This is
Yeah,
I won't
yeah,
play the whole thing.
yeah, yeah.
Should I play just part of it maybe? You think?
Yeah, I think part of it, yeah. Don't
Okay.
let the whole cat out.
Yep, I'll play part of it. This is a song called Given In, and someone had mentioned the Waka Mile CD. This is from the old Waka Mile CD, but so we're calling it Given In again. We did the Waka Mile CD when we had zero money, and we used synth horns and everything like that. And now we've got it fully blown out with a real horn section, and it's a lot of fun. This is called Given In from the brand new CD, upcoming CD.
Nice,
Right.
nice fade out
There
as
it
well.
is. Part of the song.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Wow, it really sounds nice. It was there an overall vibe of this new album that you wanted to
Uh,
bring?
Very good question. I'm gonna have to say no. There's a couple of songs are like that, sort of like the feel good, sort of pop stuff, and a couple are very stripped down. You mentioned that you're doing something similar, very
Mm,
stripped down, just light drums, piano, bass, and saxophone, like that type of song, and everything in between. And I've got also a couple of more, I guess, for lack of a better term, fusion tunes, like not smooth jazz. It's
mm,
still nice to listen to, I hope, but it's not the typical smooth jazz thing. It's a little more adventurous compositionally. And
mm.
one song that's sort of reminiscent that I wrote when I was with the Rippingtons, so it's sort of reminiscent of the Rippington style, called Saratoga. And so that one also features a real horn section, so it makes a big difference. I even had French horn player,
Wow.
who happens to be my daughter's boyfriend,
Wow.
who was great in the studio. Did a great job.
Nice. That's super cool. Yeah, I don't know of many people who have had a French horn in the horn section.
Oh, I love it. I've always written for French horn, but I always had to use a sample because, you know, where do you find a French horn player? But now I know one.
Yeah. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that preview. Ben said that was more than a preview. And yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, do look out for Jeff's music. You can find it on all digital platforms and contact him for physical CDs as well on his website, jeffkashiwa.com. And do look for Jeff on social media as well, both on Facebook and Instagram. That's gonna be the best way to keep updated to all that he's doing and the music that he's releasing. Yeah, go check it out. I dropped some links earlier on, but I'm sure you guys are tech savvy enough to find him. And yeah, once again, Jeff, thank you so much for doing this. It was great fun. We had such a diverse show. We had music, saxophone talk, and of course a lot of others as well. And thank you so much once again for the mug. I'm gonna treasure it. And
Yes,
thank you
absolutely.
for
They're going
doing
in the mail
giveaway.
tomorrow.
Yay, that's
These
awesome.
are from me and Steve Cole, and also I want to thank you for not only for tonight. I always enjoy speaking with you, but for the series of shows you've done. You've really done a great deal to create community, especially now when we need it more than ever in our music world. Not just saxophones, but just people. You've from around the world. You're creating this community of like-minded folks, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being there at almost every show. We see you pop in, and that
These are
that
my
really
friends you're talking to. Yeah.
yeah, that really means a lot. And yeah, I've been enjoying this, and yeah, I really doing it really mainly for myself. I want to talk with you guys, and learn. And I thought might as well, why don't I broadcast it and let many
Yeah.
more people enjoy it as well. And yeah, and I'm just gonna share a bit about this idea that actually came up on when I was speaking to Dave Cos live on this show, and he was like, he's been even thinking of doing like international saxophone congress, because he also feels the desire to try to connect people, saxophonists, musicians globally. So yeah, I'm gonna take a call with him soon to see how we could try to set that up. So yeah, I think now more than ever, we need, just, the community to come together. And it's just so amazing. Like, even for both of us, we've never met in person before,
I feel like
and
we have, but we haven't, have we? Which
yeah,
has only been on
it's
Zoom or
funny,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So it's just incredible. We are 15-hour time zone away, and still be able to connect musically, which is always a treat, using technology. It has its quirks, but I'm
Yeah.
glad it all worked out. And yeah, thank you so much again. I know it's getting late for you over there, but say hi to the family. Thank you again for the beautiful story of sharing, how
Hmm.
you met your wife. That's amazing.
Yes.
Cool. Xavier says, can't wait for the album. Um,
Trying to
and
my hardest to get it done.
uh, Adil says, catchy tune. And yeah, Ben, thank you for being here. And thank you for all those of you who have been here. It's going to be almost 2.5 hours. We really, really appreciate it. And yeah, and Jeff, probably we can look forward to doing maybe another one down the road, a lot
Sounds
more
good.
to
Sounds
talk
good.
about and play together. So maybe when your new album is out, I think that might be a nice time, to
You can have some tea or coffee with this mug, and we can sip
yes,
and have a chat.
yes, for sure. And Chris as well. So Chris, you hopefully you would still have the mug then. So thank you so much, and thank you everyone for being here. And we're gonna catch you at the next show. I think next week I'm gonna take things slow a bit, but next week I have the amazing Tom Scott, which Jeff mentioned just now. So Tom is coming on. So many
Huge
things I want
influence
to
on
ask
me.
him.
Huge
Oh,
influence on me. I love
yeah,
him.
that's gonna be exciting. So I'm just gonna do one next week and take it easy a bit. So it'll be just Tom Scott next Saturday for us, the same time slot. So thank you again, Jeff, and
All right.
I look forward to keeping in touch. And yeah, do take care, have a good weekend, and for the rest
Bye,
of you,
everybody.
we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.